Hey, welcome back to Being Integrated. I'm Jude, and today's video is about the most important factor for getting into a focused flow state. And this is something that often doesn't get addressed when we're talking about focus. It doesn't get addressed when we're talking about ADHD. It's something that a lot of people really don't talk about, but as soon as I tell you, you're gonna know, oh yeah, that makes so much sense, especially if you have ADHD. So the most important factor, and this is now scientifically proven, is that we find what we're doing meaningful. And doesn't that make so much sense? If you struggle with focus, you'll probably find there's certain activities that you can get super hyper focused on because they're meaningful, because you care about them, because in some way they are stimulating. And you find this across all sorts of disciplines, that there are people who can get hyper focused on what they love or care about, and other parts of their lives are a mess. And so this obviously asks the bigger question of what do you find meaningful? And or how can you make certain aspects of your life feel more meaningful? So there may be certain things that we are avoiding that we need to focus on, that we can infuse more with meaning. We can start to explore them from another perspective and try to cultivate the sense of meaningness, of importance around tasks that may seem more menial or mundane. I teach meditation, and I know a lot of meditators. I've been in the scene for basically 2 decades now. My parents are actually Buddhists, so I grew up around Buddhists, and I've explored many different communities, teachers, all of that. And what I've found is the people who really excel in meditation, who really get into it, are the people who are so intrigued by the philosophy. It's actually the philosophy, reading all of that, that makes the practice of meditation meaningful and allows you to get into focus. If you're just meditating because you've heard it's good for you or for some other vague reason, it's not going to hold your attention as much. So before you start practicing, think about, why are you doing this? Is it actually meaningful? And there's tons of books out there that can be really inspiring. I have another video reviewing 5 of my favorite Buddhist or meditation books that I found personally really inspiring. But the real question is, what's your inspiration? And whether this is meditation or focusing on your schoolwork or whatever else, if you can conjure up that meaning, if you can look at what are you working towards and bring that, make that alive in the moment and apply it to that task, it is going to hold your focus so much better. And if you're somebody like me, it may pull you in a whole other direction in life. For a long time, I was studying psychotherapy and meditation as a hobby. I was not doing it as a career. And then about 8 years ago, I got super depressed and lost interest in pretty much everything except for learning psychotherapy and meditation, which I had long been interested in. And after a lot of exploring, I realized I actually have to do these things for work, because otherwise I'm just not going to be happy. My day-to-day life is not going to feel meaningful, and I'm not going to be able to focus on anything at all if I don't pursue what's meaningful to me. And I know I'm quite lucky. It wasn't an easy transition, but I'm lucky that I had a lot of experience. I had a lot of friends supporting me. I already had some connections in the world of meditation from hanging out in meditation groups for a long time. And I know for a lot of people out there, it's not that easy to make these transitions. There could be financial barriers, there could be time barriers. I know there are a ton of barriers, and I've worked with a lot of clients in these situations, and it can be very difficult. It could mean big sacrifices to shift out of something that's not meaningful into something that's more meaningful. And I've actually worked with a lot of clients going through this transition, often giving up very successful careers, people thinking they're kind of crazy for giving up all their success, but them knowing that they're not going to be happy or focused or at ease in themselves unless they're pursuing what's really meaningful to them. And as a last tip, what is meaningful to most people is something that has an impact on others, and like a positive impact. It's helping others. It doesn't have to be like a charitable type thing. It could be anything. But when you feel a part of a larger community, when you feel like you're connected with others and engaged with others, those are often the things that have some relational capacity, that really land and really give us that sense of purpose in what we're doing. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope it helped. I actually have a lot of reading recommendations around finding meaning. My favorite author is James Hollis. You can check his books. There's a lot about finding meaning, specifically in the second half of life, because it's often when we get to this midpoint transition in life that we start searching for new things that are meaningful. The book I usually recommend people to start with him is Living an Examined Life, and I will give a full review in the future of that book, but it is one of my favorite books. It's one of the ones I recommend most, and it's a good thought experiment to read through and contemplate the ideas in each chapter. Anyhow, this is one of my favorite topics, is about helping to find meaning, because it can get so abstract and weird, and it's so individual and unique to each person. Yet there are some underlying themes that run through. So you can expect more on this topic. I have more videos planned on this, but that's it for this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I really love hearing from you. You can comment or just send a like, but it's really great to get the feedback because it's just me and a camera here. So thanks.